What's going on, guys? Welcome back. We're in season 6.5, and one of my favorite things about hero shooters is eventually you kind of find yourself maining someone no matter what role you play. And today we're going to go through all the roles: Vanguard, Duelist, Strategist, and talk about what heroes I think are the best to main right now in season 6.5 and beyond. But also talk about there's so many heroes in this game and break down exactly what I think are the most important ones depending on entry and beginner level all the way up to advanced, like crazy pro tactics, and who I think is worth your time to pick up and learn, and that is going to last a while within the meta. We got a pretty sleepy balance patch, but a lot has changed. We're going to go through all of them right now. Let's jump in. Okay, so we're going to kick off with the Vanguard, the tank role within Rivals, and for this role in Strategists, they're mainly all good. That is the great thing about Rivals, is in these specific roles, there's a lot of great heroes to play, but obviously some are much better than others, and they're kind of in their own category. So first up, let's go and talk about kind of the anchor Vanguards or tanks. If you don't have one on your team, or if you just want to play like the overall greatest value, bang for your buck hero to main, these are ones that aren't going to shock you because they haven't changed now for multiple seasons. Obviously, we've got, starting off the list, no question about it, Magneto is in a great spot within Rivals, the double bubble, the offense, the defense. You've heard the spiel by now. This is just a hero that can do it all. He's very safe to play, easy to learn. I would say hard to master, but not really, just little things you can do to master him. And he works great in the poke meta at the moment. Really, there's been nothing that has taken him down from his throne. This is Magneto Rivals after all. And we've got yet another patch without these nerfs, which is definitely pretty damn good. He offers a little something for everybody, and again, can't stress it enough if you're new to the game. Great starting point. Emma Frost, though, obviously the other very good, just kind of main tank that can handle a lot. I think one thing I like about her, rather than just Magneto, is if you do play a dive-heavy comp, you know, she could be there. She fits in most situations to help peel for the team and just be that bully that doesn't have a ton of weakness. She just got a buff not long ago. If you have pretty good steady aim too, her beam just melts people and is overall a very solid hero. Her ultimate is slept on, can set up good team wipes. You can counter things like a Gambit ultimate if you have good timing, or Star-Lord, some of these other heroes that we'll talk about today. And then we end on kind of the anchor tanks with Groot. And I always kind of have that warning. If you're not a great player, or you're kind of still like learning the game, unless you're like fully committed, I would wait for Groot, because he's definitely one that is going to take a lot of practice, but the reward is going to be insane. I've talked to a couple of people, pros and just regular players, that have like spent the time on Groot, and they're like, good God, I've like exceeded way past where I thought I was going to be rank wise, but the amount of carrying you can do is insane. Mainly because one thing you guys got to know, especially if you're low elo or low rank, is having all of that health pool for your strategist to heal up is one of the best ways to win, because in all the ults that fly everywhere in Rivals, you need to get that ultimate charge for the strategist to kick things off. And how do you do that is you get a big chunk of meat and you slash it down health-wise and heal it back up. Groot is great because he has so much health and so much sustain that oftentimes you're able just to overload your strategist, get Groot ult on top of it, and win a ton of team fights that can end up winning the match and thus giving you more and more wins. But also, he just does everything else good. I mean, if that wasn't enough, his wall placement's insane with cutting off heals and making opportunities tank versus tank and separating teams from each other. But his damage numbers are great. Everything about Groot is stupid solid. Best tank right now, probably overall in the game. Can't stress it enough. That's why he is an anchor after all. But moving on to our next kind of tier of tank or type of tank is going to be dive. And right now, dive tanks, obviously, like, the better you get at the game, the better dive is going to be. The more coordination you have and or stack, if you go with a duo or trio, dive can get crazy pretty quickly, which is why we see pros play it so much. Now, kicking it off, we're going to go with Venom at first, because this guy, he just got a buff, and we don't know why. He was already pretty damn good. I would say maybe if you look at low elo statistics and low rank play, he's not as good. But everything else just shows that Venom was already in a good spot, and now he's even better. He got a massive buff to his overall survivability, with his ult getting now 130% of the damage done. And that makes his survival plus bonus health added. Now he's at 25 more health. He's just in a good spot, man. He's so hard to take down. And no matter where you're at, he's going to probably fit the gameplay, because he can dive in, get a kill, dive out, or you could just cause enough kind of ability waste that you get the value anyway. You know, get the Loki and his lanterns out, get invis push, whatever it might be. Someone else on your team then can do their job a little bit better. And even though you're not getting like direct impact kills all the time, you're making a big impact for the game. Triple support, he's insane against because they don't have enough firepower to take you down. So that's also just awesome. Vanguards, he munches up big with his ultimate. So he's one that I would say takes a little bit of time to learn. But once you do, extreme value. Can't recommend to main him enough right now. Angela, I would say, is just in the same spot where she was at. Invis is going to be a little bit easier to deal with because of the cooldown on her push and pull, making Angela that much easier to play. Her kidnapping and the value she brings is crazy. It's kind of like playing your own adventure when you're in a team game. Like if it was a sport, you're just like off doing your own thing, like the kicker on a team, I guess. But if you put in the time, Angela can carry games pretty crazy. But again, I would say if you're not like the highest ranked player, once you kind of get the hang of just the Vanguard role of pressure and everything that comes with it, that's when I would go and learn Angela. The other dives like Hulk and Captain America, awesome at pro play. For this season, I would say Venom, Angela, those are my main picks as of now. But then we move on to Brawl, guys. Man, I'm telling you, Vanguards, there's so much to talk about in this role because I think Tank is done very well in Rivals. But with the Brawl comps, like what do we've got? Now, obviously, the Thing is in a great spot and has been for a while. The newest hero, Elsa, we'll get to momentarily, is very strong at mid-range, and the Thing likes things up close and personal and chaotic, right? Domination over time. That's when you want to go to the Thing. And he punishes people like Doctor Strange heavy, which we might get an uptick on if Invis makes it through the ban. So I think the Thing, I learned him in like half a season and dominated with him. Super underplayed, very simple as well. If you want a brain off hero, I'm telling you, the Thing is worth it across the board. His ult is super fast to charge, and just your overall hope for the team is going to be there. But you got to have another tank, obviously. He can't do the job by himself. Now, Thor is also just like in his own category of Rivals bully. Low elo or high elo, this might be, if you want to kind of like one trick, one tank massively, I think Thor might be the pick. Low elo, you don't give a damn about other Vanguards because you are off doing so much value yourself as a bully. And then in high elo, he's crazy too. His Awaken does so much poke. He can kidnap easily and make things work for your team very well in that regard. And then his constant, like, just bully of the backline of Strategists. I keep saying bully, but damn it, that's just what he is in the game. Very good Vanguard at the moment. Just got a little bit of buff / nerf, so, you know, we'll see how his survivability shakes out. But for the majority of people, this is a great Vanguard to choose within the game. And then quickly, Rogue. I think Rogue is always going to be in a unique spot. The more coordination you have, kind of like Dive, the better she is. She's not as tanky or in some cases useful as even Thor and Thing at times, but she gets things done that they can't do. The ult steal is crazy against Strategists, and what she can do combo-wise and mobility-wise is nothing to laugh at. I think if you want a unique pick that can definitely carry her, you know, weight and is only going to get better as, you know, Rival ages, that's the way to go. The biggest thing about her really is that she's giga crazy with Gambit and that team up, but Gambit's banned all the time. So once Gambit gets a nerf and then maybe he sneaks in, Rogue gets even better, so you might as well learn her right now. Now, that's like most of the Vanguards. Who did we not talk about, or at least who do I want to address that isn't in the main section? Doctor Strange, let's start there. Got a new team up, right? A little bit of a shield nerf. Where does he land? I think potentially if Invis is not banned, people are going to start loving Doctor Strange and the way that he plays. He's kind of like a DPS in a lot of ways. You know, there's pros and cons for playing him. You're going to play him every match anyway with the TP, but then the TP can be a pro and a con because if the enemy like kills you last, then you're screwed and your team is, you know, not going to get the point, whatever it might be. But also still just it doesn't have the perfect identity compared to some of the other anchor tanks. And when you pick Strange, people kind of assume they have an anchor tank on their team. And so he can be great. I think his setup with his Algos and all the buffs he's gotten has made him pretty damn good. And I think he's well worth learning this season. Plus, on the bright side, if you trust yourself enough, like if you are a good Strange, having access to the TP, not having to swap, and then having like an Agamotto is crazy good. Deadpool Vanguard, I think, can work in some lineups. He's kind of, in my opinion, like the master of none. Does poke really well, but also brawl kind of well. But there's other heroes I would prefer. to play in that slot, but still I think he's adjusting pretty well in the meta. And then we already talked about some of the other, dives, with Penny being a good low elo pick, but I want to play her all the time. So that covers all the damn Vanguards. Sorry to go on that tangent, but I think it's important to know where the tanks are right now within the game. And with that, it takes us to the biggest role. And at some point, we're going to have like 50 heroes alone in the Duelist category. Who do you play? Because there's so many different options, and I think most of them are worth learning. I think a lot of them you can get value out of, but there's definitely clear-cut favorites. With this role, I wanted to break it up into like some different categories that I've seen, right? So first of all, we've got the mechanical gifted, just like you're great at video games. You should be playing these heroes that require very good aim, and they're in a great spot meta-wise. The early reviews are out, and guys, I think Elsa is stupid good. Nothing she does is bad. Her cooldowns are so quick, her mobility and her damage. She's better at mid-range than like Hela and Phoenix. She's good at long range, great at finishing off. There's so much to like, and her ultimate is game-changing at times. I think Elsa is going to be one of the most mandatory heroes to play at a high level. I love her, definitely, no question, even though she's got like the new hero feel. Learn to play her, she's going to be a staple moving forward. And feels much different than the others on this list. Obviously, we go next to Phoenix, and Phoenix and Hela together always combine into one section. You have good aim, you're going to get good value. Phoenix is a little worse, Hela's going to stay the same, but they both offer consistency in terms of damage and what they offer to the team. Phoenix has a bit more self-sustain, and her ultimate is comboing a little bit better, whereas Hela, outside of Namor, I think is a bit better for like solo play, if you will, or maybe even low-level play. Her ult's great against Brawl. Couple good things about those two. And then you got Hawkeye, who like learn him in quick play. Don't do that to your team. But you're either super busted as Hawkeye or you're not. And you're gonna find out pretty quickly. But if you are, main the hell out of this guy, because a great Hawkeye can carry games pretty much like no one else within Rivals at times. Moving on, though, we go to our next list of heroes. Like, you got the good aims, and then you have, like, kind of the server admins. Like, just the very good staple DPS right now that can fit into any lineup, do their job great, and they're kind of busted in a lot of ways. Star-Lord is going to kick off the list because they gave him a buff, and I don't know why. I already had him in S tier because of his consistent value, his one-on-one dueling, playing with the team, farming off tanks to get the ult. Now you get it quicker. You've got auto-aim with him. You have quick teleportation. Like, there's so much going on with Star-Lord and his kit to perfection that if you haven't learned him, like, this is no question. Like, this is the Season 2 outside of maybe he gets nerfed in Season 7 because of him being overtuned at some point. Star-Lord, though, clear-cut, big favorite. I think that you don't have to have perfect aim, but the better you are mechanically, the better you're going to be on this guy. Alongside him, Bucky, man. It's been like 5 years since Bucky's had a nerf, and the game's only been out for like a year and a half. So if that doesn't tell you what you need to know, Bucky is, I would say, the anchor duelist, right? You have the anchor tanks. He's the one that, like, no one wants to see on their team because he doesn't have a great counter, but he counters kind of everything, right? If you've got a pesky duelist, pesky flank, Spider-Man, Panther, Angela, doesn't matter. Bucky can deal with them and is probably the most important hero to add to your pool as a player if you consider yourself like a staple duelist within the game. Not enough I can say about him. Really solid. Love Bucky. Namor, guys, is now in the spot where I would say he is pretty much an anchor. I mean, if he has to Hela team up, he's past that. But he's this off-angle, even at times flanking, but crazy value hero with now his turrets, his ultimate for setups, and just overall value, his self-protection with Blessings of the Deep. Everything that I think Namor does well is also leaning to like a solo player experience in ways that you don't need to rely as much on your team if you know where to go and how to use them perfectly. If you land how his projectiles work with his trident, the dude can just straight up bully lobbies, and I think is a very solid hero. If you didn't learn him last season, this has got to be the one to do so. And then, again, there's so many to talk about, but I want to limit this section. Let's talk about like insane cracked niche heroes, right? And by niche, I mean they serve a purpose, but you can also play them all the time, right? So first up is Storm, who I think it was like 2 seasons ago, I went on a tangent that Storm is a hero that I don't think is played near enough. The value you get out of her is solid. The more teamwork you have, the better she is. And now you don't even have to worry about hit scan as much. Obviously, Elsa coming into the game is going to make her life a little bit more of hell. But the fact that you can use your Wind Blade, gain shields, and kind of one-on-one duel with these other heroes that counter you means the better you are at Storm, the more you could run these lobbies. Obviously, the damage up with a Moon Knight and things like that, we see in pro play very good out the gates to enable your team. But the fact that Bolt Rush is getting the cooldown that it is, her ultimate at low level play is game winning. No one knows how to handle that. Low elo, high elo, I think we're almost in a Storm meta. And we're going to have to see how she settles in against Elsa. That's going to be the matchup to look up for. Definitely, without question, one of the duelists you need to consider playing at the moment. And then I would say the last two in this category, I've got Moon Knight. Not enough to say about him. He's just crack damage. Crack damage, great ultimate. The best low elo duelist to learn, I think, in the game. To always do your part in some role. Get down his mobility. You're good to go. And then lastly, I would say Wolverine. Wolverine has one of the best ults in the game in Last Stand. And they gave it a massive reduction in how long it takes to get it. I don't know why, but they've done it. And at this point now, Wolverine has become such a good hero to throw into your rotation that doesn't take a lot of commitment to learn and can bully Vanguards. Used to like him only in high elo because there's not enough Vanguard play in low ranks, but now you can kind of just bully without it. You know, that one tank they have on their team, make their life hell, get Last Stand, and go crazy. Because at low elo, they don't know how to counter you. Wolverine requires a lot of focus and CC and everybody kind of to stop him at once. But in low elo, you don't get that as much. And so I think with that passive, with his ult and everything combined, he's just wild, man. He's the wild beast that he is. Last Stand can take people out of their ults too. So Cloak and Daggers, the, Invisible Woman. You have that value to bring something, super niche and specific for him. Wolverine could be a better season. I'm all about him. And then lastly, one trick pony and or stupid solid good heroes if you spend all your time perfecting and learning them. Really, the main two I want to highlight here, Iron Fist, you could say a bunch, but Daredevil and Spider-Man. Let's focus on Spider-Man, but Daredevil applies all the same. There may not be a bigger impact hero in the game out of these two heroes that can just completely change the game, and there's no answer if you have muscle memoried everything about their kit. I kid you not, I think Spider-Man is the most game-changing hero in this game if you are an absolute animal on him. And I know a lot of you guys are gonna be pissed because now I've just spawned like a billion Spider-Mans that suck. Don't be that guy. Don't throw for your team. Learn it. Spend 10x time in the practice range as you do in live games to learn his mechanics and then go do quick play and kind of learn from there. But honestly, guys, like, I'm sold. Spider-Man, Daredevil, I've seen enough now that if you fully want to commit to one guy, it's something that can truly not need to rely on anybody else. It's going to be those two, with Spider-Man definitely getting more of that love. Daredevil's pretty much the same with his combos. So if you want to go more heavy on that and less mobility, I would say that's the way to go. Now, if you're still with me, let's go and talk about you unsung heroes out there, the strategists. Go to subscribe to show your support to your local strategists out there. It means a lot, guys. By the way, we hit above 150K subs, which is just such an awesome milestone. So I appreciate you guys coming back and watching these videos. But strategists are in kind of a similar place as, I would say, the Vanguards. Most of them are great. There's no very, atrocious picks that you can have now. And clearly, we got to start at the top. All right. Not even the top strategist to pick, but could be. And it's Adam Warlock. You guys know, wheelchair, it's gone, and he can now fly. And what this does is it makes this duelist-focused strategist with their biggest weakness being mobility into not having that weakness any longer. Now, Soul Bond and the way that he's able to res and keep sustaining the fight and deal with dive, all those things you still get. And now you can fly. So being able to fly and be aggressive or get out of ultimates to be safe for the res, all that, like, it's not just the meme of him flying, it's that this truly changes the character inside and out. And I would say out of the majority of strategists, Adam is one that has been kind of left behind for a lot of you guys to learn in main, and this is by far the best time to do so. Now, Gambit is next up, and here's the problem with Gambit, okay? We're going to keep it pretty short and sweet. A, I think Gambit's going to get a nerf in Season 7. There's no way around it. B, Gambit, if you are above Diamond, I don't even know. I don't even know if he makes it past Diamond. How low does he make it past? He's going to be banned, okay? If he's not banned, you have to have Gambit in your tool belt. Like, no question. He's that much of a game changer. Everything he offers with his cleanse and his ult, even just his ultimate, at a bare bones low rank level is enough to carry lobbies with a half coordinated team. Gambit is, if he's available, one of the top picks and by far still the best strategist, I think, within the game. Now, Loki, he got a nerf, but he's still right there. I think very high skill ceiling, but having the access to copy an Adam Warlock or Gambit ult has so much value on top of all the other ults that he can copy as well. And like triple support is such a big thing in this game. So like Adam Warlock, Mantis, Loki, Gambit, Loki, like there's so many combos that work now. And I feel like Mantis has got to be mentioned because of that. Not my favorite pick on like a duo standard strategist lineup, but especially for you guys in high elo or want to dip in with a duo, even trio, you got to throw Mantis in. You can, focus who's your best player in your team, damage boost them, do your part not to die, sleep the dives, do what you need to do, and kind of be like the coach of the team in some ways. I think Mantis is in a great place this season, is definitely slept on. And real quick, I forgot a heal pool, so I'm going to fire up the camera without me on it. Heal pool, guys, in a nutshell, I think the way that he gets his ult quickly is super fun to abuse, and I think he's very strong in that regard. The fact that he ramps up is a little bit of a bummer, and you can't like respond to ultimates unless you have yours ready to go because he doesn't keep it on death. So those things can make him a little tough, but I do think he is very good at high damage, high healing, and probably much better at low elo to mid elo. But I would say the better you are as a player, like especially up there in Celestial and above, I don't see him near as much. Triple sup, he can be very solid, but there's just better options right now. But either way, I think he's kind of the master of everything, and so wouldn't be a bad pickup. Now, to wrap it up, two more. I think these are more the anchor healers in a lot of ways. Cloak and Dagger got no buffs or nerfs, but that means they're still exactly where they were in Season 6, and that is a great spot. The double blind with damage boost and the double heal has put them in a great situation. Their ults now, if you know exactly how to dash and where to go, is always going to give you value. Low elo, brain off. High elo, big plays can be made with them. I think they do everything very well. No reason not to play them unless you already have the animated Lord icon, in which case, what are you doing? And then Invis, yes, she got the nerf. She still counters the majority of the meta. I mean, Wolverine, Strange, Angela, you name it, she kind of counters it. I think she's still going to get nerfs as we continue on, but she's still such a great staple within the game and really can't be said, enough how solid she is. We didn't talk about Jeff, Ultron. I would say Jeff, if you have Storm, is always a good play. Jeff with Venom is also giga busted at times with that team up. So most strategists have a case, but those are definitely my personal favorite standouts, or at least the ones I want to highlight the given situations. Outside of that, guys, that is pretty much naming the entire damn roster in this game. I know you're probably thinking, Cozy, like, who to main? You listed every hero. But that's the good stuff about Rivals. A lot of great heroes right now to play, and hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. It was a ramble. I feel like I've been talking for 50 minutes straight. I needed damn water, but it was a good time. And hopefully you guys have good luck out there. Until the next one, guys, if you haven't already, subscribe down below. A lot of great videos, guides, and more coming your way. And till the next one, happy rifling.